Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So the first person up is Caleb Tuttle.
Grab that table.
All right, I'm calling the case of docket 2202195. That's People of the State of Michigan versus Caleb Tuttle. Sir, you are Caleb Tuttle?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Karen Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Tuttle for purposes of arraignment.
All right, and Mr. Tuttle, I'm gonna indicate to you the charges that have been alleged against you and some of the rights you have in regard to those charges. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the felony complaint indicates that on August 16th, 2022 at 1718 Herbert Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, you, Caleb Dale Tuttle, did in count 1, assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Officer Michael McGregor, a police officer of the Lansing Police Department. The defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his or her lawful duties at the time, contrary to the state laws of Michigan, that being MCL 750.81D, parents 1. That's a felony, 2 years and or $2,000. A consecutive sentence may be imposed if the assault committed in a place of confinement, which it appears this wasn't, under 750.81D6, parent 6. That's count 1, commonly referred to as resisting and obstructing. So 2-year felony under $2,000. And count 2, you yourself, Caleb Dale Tuttle, did in count 2 make an assault or an assault and battery upon Lisa Heppard, a resident or former resident of his household, or an individual with whom he had a dating relationship, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being MCL 750.81, parents 2. There's a restitution notice that you may be responsible for the damage to an individual's property or physical health. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500. There's also that this is a second offense notice that you had been previously convicted of this crime, violating 750.81 parents 2 on or about 2/25/2020. Therefore, there's an enhanced conviction request of a 1-year misdemeanor and or $1,000. That being a misdemeanor. Do you understand the nature of counts 1 and 2 that are alleged against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to read you some rights in regards to the felony count. If you in that felony count, you have the right to have a trial. You have the right to contest that trial. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. You have attorney Aaron Robinson from the Public Defender's Office for purposes of this hearing only. Do you plan to seek representation from the Public Defender's Office in any further hearing in this case?
Yes.
All right. I'll indicate yes for the record for Public Defender. You also have the right to have the people of the state of Michigan prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and you have the presumption of innocence. You have the right to have witnesses called for your appearance at trial, to question those witnesses against any witnesses brought against you, and to have witnesses brought on your behalf. You have the right for the defense to appear at trial, you have the right to remain silent during the trial. You have the right not to have that silence used against you in trial. And you have the right to testify in a trial on your behalf. Do you understand your rights, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have the right to have a probable cause hearing within 21 days of this arraignment. Probable cause hearing is a preliminary examination in which the people of the state of Michigan would have to prove by probable cause that you committed this crime and the identity of the person who committed the crime. Do you understand those rights, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, your next hearing date on this is a probable cause conference on August 26, 2022 at 1:30. And then the preliminary examination is set for September 1st, 2022 at 9 a.m. Do you have a current address for the court's file?
That one that you guys have on file, I have to get my sister's address and then come back and give it to y'all.
All right, the 1718 Herbert Street is also the street of the domestic assault, and you'll have a no contact
Yeah.
order. So
Yep,
you'll follow up with the new address?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a phone number?
Yes, I
That-
do.
that'll work.
517 291
Okay. 291?
4356. Yep, 291-4356.
All right. Sir, are you on probation or parole?
I'm on probation right now with Judge Simmons.
Okay.
I actually have a court date with her August 30th at 2 p.m.
All right. Are you employed, sir?
Yes, I am.
Where at?
I work at Ryder, a warehouse off of Canal Road.
Okay, I will automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of arraignment. Counsel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Tuttle has been a member of the Lansing community his whole life. He has been recently experiencing some health problems that require urgent treatment with his heart. He is working, as he stated, he is on misdemeanor probation. However, he does have a place to stay. He will be staying with his sister, family in the area. He just doesn't know the address off the top of his head. So I would request a personal recognizance bond.
All right, I'm going to indicate the following bond conditions if you are able to make bond in this matter. Since this is a domestic assault, I will order GPS to be ordered with victim notification. No use of alcohol or drugs without a prescription. No assaultive behavior.
Yes, sir.
No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim. The
Yes,
victim in
sir.
this case is Lisa Heppard. That means you're to stay outside of 1,500 feet of any work, a school, or where she lives.
Yes, sir, I understand.
No possession of a firearm. And if upon release, you're to report to pretrial services.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Because of indicating the nature of the crime, which is assaultive in nature, both of them are the result, the R&O, the 2-year felony, which is punishable by 2 years and or $2,000, and the domestic, which is punishable by 1 year and or $1,000. I'm going to set bond in this matter at $4,000, 10%. So it'll be 10% of $4,000, which is $400. Anything else for the record, Mr. Tuttle?
No, sir.
Oh, Your Honor.
All right, that's all for the record in docket 22-02195. We'll have Jada Wallace next. Okay, I'm going to call to the record docket 22-02193. Ma'am, you are Jada Wallace?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me all right, Miss Wallace?
Yes.
All right, Miss Robinson, your appearance for the record.
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Ms. Wallace for purposes of arraignment.
Ms. Wallace, this is the time where I'm going to read the charges that have been alleged against you and some rights you have in regard to these charges, okay? All right, in regards to this is the felony complaint that on or about August 16th, 2022 at 2105 Hillcrest Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan. You, Jada Wallace, did in count 1 carry a dangerous weapon, to wit, a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise, in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, to wit, a 2008 Saturn Aura, contrary to the laws of the state of Michigan, that being MCL 750.227. It's a felony, 5 years and/or $2,500. Do you understand the nature of that charges against you, ma'am?
Yes.
You have certain rights in this file because this is a felony, 5 years. It's in contrary to 750.227. You have the right to have a trial by jury. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. You have the right that the people of the state of Michigan prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to witnesses being brought in your case and being brought against you. You have the right to question any witnesses and in that regard. Today, you're represented by Public Defender Aaron Robinson for purposes of this arraignment. Do you intend to seek further assistance from the Public Defender's Office in regards to representation for future hearings?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put yes, and we'll seek public defender assistance. You have the right to have any court order any witnesses they have for the defense to appear at your trial. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have that silence not be used against you. And you have the right to testify at a trial if you want to testify at the trial. Do you understand those rights, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Because of this is a felony, you have the right to a preliminary examination within 21 days. That is a probable cause hearing in which the people of the state of Michigan would have to prove of the offense indicated in the file that I just read to you and the identity of the person who committed that offense. You'd also have the right to contest those charges with legal representation. Do you understand that right, ma'am?
Yes.
Your next hearing date for this case, you have a probable cause conference on August 26, 2022 at 1:30. You have a preliminary examination on September 1st, 2022 at 9 a.m. Ma'am, do you have an address for the file, for the court's file?
Yes, I do.
What's that address, please?
It's 2911 Bajardin Drive, Lansing, Michigan. 48910.
48910?
Yes.
All right. And do you have a phone that's good for the court's file?
Yes, it's 517-507-1552.
Ma'am, are you on probation or parole?
No.
Are you employed, ma'am?
No.
Okay, the court will automatically enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Ms. Robinson, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Wallace has been in Lansing area her whole life. She does have family here in the area. She's not on probation or parole, has no other open cases, has a very limited criminal history. This case is a non-violent offense. I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Okay, Ms. Wallace, if you're able to make bond today, I'm going to set the following bond conditions as a part of that. I'm going to have no assaultive behavior, no use of alcohol or drugs without a prescription, no out-of-state travel, no contact with the victim in this case, which is Anthony Wallace, which is a rise. So you understand you have to be outside of 1,500 feet of where Mr. Wallace works, goes to school, or lives. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
Okay. On this felony file, 5-year file, if you're able to, you're supposed to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of release. Is that we have a limited criminal history, although it is a gun charge in this matter. So I'm not comfortable with a PR, a personal recognizance on a gun charge. I'm going to set bond at 2,010%. Anything else for the file on 22-02-193, Ms. Robinson?
No,
All right, that's all for the record in 22-02-193. Any questions, Ms. Wallace?
No, no, thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll do Trenton Wallace next. I'm going to call case 22-02-194. People of the state of Michigan versus Trenton Wallace. Sir, you are Trenton Wallace?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Ms. Robinson, your appearance?
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Wallace for purposes of arraignment.
Thank you. Mr. Wallace, I'm going to indicate the complaining felony that's been issued against you in this matter, and then some of the rights you have in this case. So the complaining felony indicates that yourself, Trenton Alexander Wallace, did on August 16, 2022, at the offense location of 2105 Hillcrest Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, did in count 1 make an assault upon Anthony Wallace with a dangerous weapon, to wit, a pistol, but without intending to commit the crime of murder and to inflict great bodily harm, less than the crime of murder, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.82. That's a felony, 4 years and/or $2,000. DNA may be taken upon arrest, and there may be consecutive sentencing in the case. It's commonly referred to as felonious assault. It's a 4-year felony. As to count 2, Trenton Alexander Wallace did make an assault or an assault and battery upon the following person, Anthony Wallace, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.81 parents 2. There's a restitution notice that there may be restitution in this matter, ordered by 780.811A. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and/or $500. This is commonly known as assault and battery. So it's a 93-day misdemeanor. Do you understand the nature of the charges that have been alleged against you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. In regards to the felony, which I will go through your rights with, you have the right to the trial. You have a right to a trial. You have the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses appear at trial and be called in your defense. You have the right to question those witnesses, and you have the right to have the court order any witnesses to be held in your defense or to cross-examine any witnesses in your defense. Ms. Robinson is appointed to represent you at this time of arraignment. She is with the Public Defender's Office. Are you going to seek assistance from the Public Defender in regards to future hearings?
Yes.
All right. You have the right to remain silent during this trial. That silence cannot be used against you in a court of law, and you have the right to have to testify at the trial. Do you understand your trial rights, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of this date of arraignment. And that would mean that the people of the state of Michigan would have to prove by probable cause evidence that the felony was committed, the 4-year felony, felonious assault, and probable cause of the person who committed that crime. You understand that you have the right to legal representation and contest those charges at that probable cause hearing. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have an address for the court's file, sir?
507 East Edgewood Boulevard, apartment 312.
And that's in Lansing?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's the zip code there?
48911.
All right. Do you have a phone number for the court's file?
Yes, Your Honor. 517.
And what is that? 517?
930-8974.
Sir, are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where are you employed, sir?
I work at Gaston out in Mason.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
I work at Gaston out in Mason. GESTAMP.
Thank you. The court will enter a not guilty plea at this time of arraignment on your behalf. Ms. Robinson, would you like to address bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wallace has been in Lansing his entire life. He does have family here. He is currently working. He reports no criminal history. He has an address away from the alleged victim in this case. I would request a personal recognizance bond.
All right, sir, if you're able to make bond, I'll place the following conditions as a part of your bond. No use of alcohol or drugs. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim in this case, Anthony Wallace. And of course, that means that you're to stay outside of the distance of 1,500 feet in which Anthony Wallace works, lives, or goes to school. No firearms. And you're to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of release.
I'm gonna get documentation on that.
You will get documentation on that.
Okay.
You should get documentation on the pretrial services order. Yes. That'll be printed out for you once you're either released or while you're incarcerated.
Okay.
I'm setting bond for purposes of this hearing. Mostly, you have somewhat criminal history, but our purposes, there does not to be a lot received. This is a 4-year felony assault with a dangerous weapon on Anthony Wallace and an assault and battery. So I will set bond at $4,000, 10%. So 10% of 4,000 is 400, sir. Anything else for the record on docket 22-02-194? Ms. Robinson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That's all for the record in this file.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We have Lenoir Dejan.
How you doing, sir?
It's Dejan.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to call the case of 22-02-190. Sir, you are Lenoir Dejan.
Lenore Dejan.
Okay, Lenore Dejan, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Robinson, your appearance for the record.
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender. Is the last name Lenore or the last name Dejan? Because I have Dejan Lenore.
It's the last name is Lenore.
Okay. Yeah, for
Correct.
Mr.
So,
Lenore.
okay, so it's Dejan Lenore, Mr. Lenore, correct? Thank
Yes, sir.
you. Thank you, counsel. So in this regard, I'm going to read you the allegations that have been brought against you in the felony complaint, and then some of your rights in this file. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
So it is alleged that on August 16th, 2022 at 1501 West Mount Hope Avenue, the defendant Dejan Anthony Lenore did in count 1 commit the offense of larceny by stealing from the person of another, to wit Sinjin Asokan, certain property, to wit an iPhone, contrary to the laws of the state of Michigan. That's 750.357. That's a felony, 10 years. Do you understand the nature of the charge against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have, in this felony file, you have certain rights. You have the right to a trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have witnesses against the people's case appear at trial. You have the right to question those witnesses. You have the right to order any witnesses to come in your defense. You have Ms. Erin Robinson, for purposes of this arraignment, do you plan to seek attendance to do you plan to seek the representation for future hearings from the public defender's office?
Yes.
All right. You have the right to have remain silent. You have the right not to have that silence used against you in the court of law, and you have the right to testify at trial if you want. Do you understand your trial rights, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you also have the right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of today. Preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people of the state of Michigan would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime was committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. Do you understand that right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have the following dates that you should have provided to you. You have a probable cause conference on August 26th, 2022 at 1:30 in front of Judge Ward. You have equally a preliminary examination on September 1st, 2022 at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Ward. Do you have an address for the file, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what address is that?
4574 Seaway Drive.
And that's Lansing?
Yes, it is.
What's the zip code there?
48911.
All right. And do you have a phone number for the file?
Yes, sir. 517
What? Okay.
402 3454.
Okay. 517. What are the next three numbers?
402.
402.
Yes, sir.
And then 3451.
54.
3454. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you on probation or parole?
No, sir.
Are you employed?
Yes.
Where are you employed?
I work for Mayho Brothers Inc. It's a housing construction.
I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea for purposes of arraignment. Ms. Robinson, would you like to be heard on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lenore has been in Lansing for 8 years. He does have family in the area. He is currently working. He's not on probation or parole. He has a limited criminal history. I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Do you know, and I'll ask this, I have a pending July 2022 CCW case in this county. Do you know, is that an ongoing case, or has that case been what's the status of that case? Ms. Robinson, do you know?
I am showing that it's an open case.
Okay. So, Mr. Lenore, do you have an open case in circuit court?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm going to set the following bond conditions if you're able to make bond. No use of alcohol or drugs without a prescription. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No possession of a firearm. And report to pretrial services within 48 hours of release. The fact that there's an ongoing CCW case in circuit court, and this is a 10-year felony of larceny from a person committed on the time that there was an ongoing. I'm going to set bond at 5,000, 10%. Anything else for the record on docket 22-02190, Ms. Robinson?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that's all for the record in that file. Next, we'll have Vernon Chapman. I don't know. I have it here.
Yep. Good afternoon.
Sir, I'm calling it, this is docket 22-02191. You are Vernon Chapman, sir?
Yes.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Chapman for purposes of arraignment.
Thank you.
Ms. Robinson.
Mr. Chapman, this is the time set for arraignment. I'm going to indicate the charges that have been alleged against you in the misdemeanor complaint. And then I'll indicate some rights you have regarding those charges, okay?
Right.
All right, so the allegation is that on August 16, 2022, at 223 East Hillsdale, City of Lansing, Ingham County, Vernon Tally Chapman did in count one enter with or without breaking a certain building or structure to it a residence located at 223 East Hillsdale, whether you occupied or unoccupied, without first obtaining permission to enter from the owner or occupant, agent or person having immediate control, contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being MCL 750.115. It's a 90-day misdemeanor and or $500. Do you understand the nature of the charges alleged against you, sir?
Right.
All right. If you have a trial in this case, you'll have the following rights. You have the right to have witnesses called in your defense. You have the right to cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to testify to remain silent without an inference being drawn from your silence. You have the right to the presumption of innocence, and you have the right that the people of the state of Michigan prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. You are represented at arraignment by Ms. Robinson today. Do you seek further representation from the public defender's office in future hearings in this case?
No.
Yes, he does, Your Honor. He's requested the assistance of an attorney.
Okay. So as requested, PD assistance. Sir, do you, your next date in the file is a pretrial set for September 6, 2022 at 10 a.m. in front of Judge Simmons. Do you have an address for the court's file?
223 East Hillsdale, the parcel that I occupy.
Okay, say it again, sir.
Mr. Chapman, you need to give a different address to the court.
Alternate address would not be really feasible at this moment.
Mr. Chapman,
All right.
I'm telling you right now, you need to give an alternate address to the court, as we talked about, because you can't give the other address.
You can't give the Hillsdale address, sir.
16739 B as in boy, R as in Randy, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, E as in Eric, LL. Detroit, Michigan, 48219.
And do you have a phone for the court's file?
They were stolen yesterday.
All right. Are you on probation or parole, sir?
No,
Are you employed?
laid off and terminated from the other one. So no.
All right. I will enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Counsel, would you like to address bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chapman has been in Lansing since 2018. He's been in Michigan his entire life. He was previously working, however, he was recently laid off. He plans to stay with family in Detroit. He's not on probation or parole. This is a misdemeanor crime that's been alleged. No violence is being alleged, so I would request a personal recognizance bond.
And normally in this case, well, let's do the if you're able to make bonds, the following bond conditions will be required. No use of alcohol or drugs. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. You'll have no contact with Yip Tan. Or the address.
Quick question, Your Honor.
Or the address of 223 East Hillsdale. That's City of Lansing. So you're to be 1,500 feet away from Yip Tan or that address.
Can I have a question, Your Honor?
Don't, if it's about the facts of the case, you don't need to talk about that. You can talk to your attorney once they're appointed about the facts of the case. If it's about when your next court date is, then you can ask those types of questions, but not anything resolving the facts of the case.
I have, so we have no contact, no firearms. In regards to the bond amount, I would agree with counsel that normally a misdemeanor of this nature would be a PR bond. However, this is the second case that's come out of this address. For whatever reason, I'm uncertain. There's also, I have a prior home invasion out of 2012 and a prior uttering and publishing that ended up with out of 2012 and MDOP out of 2012. So I do have some criminal history in this matter. I will set a bond in this matter, and I'll set it at $1,000, 10%.
I'm not paying that. Period.
Anything else for the record, Ms. Robinson, in docket 2202191?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. That's all for the record in this file.
This way, sir.
Well, that Shane Kraft.
Yes.
Sir, so recall to the record docket 2202047. You are Shane Kraft, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Robinson, your appearance for the record?
Erin Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Kraft for purposes of arraignment.
And Mr. Kraft, I'm going to read the charges that have been alleged against you and then some of those rights you have in these misdemeanor charges, okay? So on or about June 20th of 2022 at 4116 Birchfield Drive, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan. The allegation is that on count one, stalking did engage in willful course of conduct involved in repeated or continuing harassments of Chalet Renee Frison. The conduct being such that would cause a reasonable person to feel terrorized or frightened or intimidated or threatened or harassed. And such conduct did cause Chalet Renee Frison to feel terrorized, frightened, or intimidated, or threatened, or harassed. Contrary to the laws of the state of Michigan, that being 750.411H, that being a misdemeanor, 1 year and or $1,000, up to 5 years probation in the matter. Commonly known to as 1 year misdemeanor stalking. In count two, did make an assault or assault and battery upon Chalet Renee Frison, an individual with whom he had a child in common, or an individual with whom he had a dating relationship. Contrary to the law of the state of Michigan, that being 750.81 parents 2, there is a restitution notice that restitution may be ordered if there's any damage to an individual's property or physical injury pursuant to MCL 780.811. This is a misdemeanor, 93 days and or $500. Do you understand the nature of the allegations against you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You have certain rights in this misdemeanor file. You have the right to a trial by jury. You have the right to have witnesses called in your defense. You have the right to cross-examine all witnesses. You have the right to testify to remain silent without an inference being drawn from your silence. You have the right to the presumption of innocence, and you have the right to the requirement that your guilt be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. You have all those trial rights. You have the right to legal representation. You have Miss Robinson here for purposes of this arraignment. Do you plan to seek legal representation from the Public Defender's Office in future hearings?
Yes, sir.
You have a pretrial date set for September 6th, 2022 at 9:30 in front of Judge Ward. Do you have a current address for the file?
Yes, it is 4600 Colston Court. That would be COUFLSTON.
And what is that in the city of Lansing?
Yes,
So 4600 Colston Court, city of Lansing.
yes, sir.
What's the zip code there?
It would be 48911.
And do you have a phone, sir, for the court's
Yes.
file? And what is that?
515-515-3373.
Sir, are you on probation or parole?
Nope.
Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
And where are you employed?
I work for Robinson's Construction Services.
The court will enter a not guilty plea at arraignment here on your behalf. Counsel, would you like to address bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kraft has been in the Lansing area for his whole life. He did turn himself in today. He does have family here in the area. He is currently working. He has an address away from the alleged victim. He's not on probation or parole. I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Thank you, counsel. I'm gonna, if able to make bond, I'm gonna set the following bond conditions. I'm gonna indicate that GPS is to be ordered with victim notification. No use of alcohol or drugs. No assaultive behavior. No out-of-state travel. No contact with the victim in this case being Chalet Renee Frison. Sir, that means you're not to be within 1,500 feet of Miss Frison pursuant to court order. That'd be where she lives, works, or goes to school. No possession of a firearm. I do have a limited criminal history, no criminal history. I also have employment situation. That's it. I would say that that weighs in your favor. The charges do not weigh in your favor as being stalking, which is a 1 year, and domestic assault, which is a 93-day assault and battery. So I'm not comfortable with the PR bond in this matter, mostly due to the stalking and the no contact with victim out there. However, I will set a bond in this matter of $1,500, 10%. If you're able to make bonds, sir, that no contact order and GPS victim notification will still be a part of any order. So you're not to have any contact within 1,500 feet, or you will be on a GPS device. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for the record in this file, docket 22-02047? Ms. Robinson.
No, Your Honor.
All right. That's all for the record in this file.
Ms. Williams.
We'll have Jerry Pierre. And sir, you are, this is docket 22-01035. You are Jerry Pierre, sir?
Yes.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record?
Erin Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Pierre for purposes of arraignment.
All right, and sir, I'm going to indicate the motion affidavit and bench warrant in the nature of the probation violation or the fail to appear violation that has been brought against you. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
All right. This is brought by Kelly Giesinger and signed by Judge Buchanan on June 27, 2022. This is that yourself were held in contempt of court for fail to appear for pretrial on June 27, 2022 in front of Judge Buchanan. Do you understand the nature of those charges against you?
Yes.
And you have a right to a hearing in that pursuant to that bench warrant, where you will be with counsel and you can contest those charges with counsel present. You have Erin Robinson for purposes of this public defender. Are you currently seeking the public defender's office in regards to this case? Did you have it at the pretrial for this case?
Your Honor, he didn't have counsel previously. However, his income situation has changed, so he is reapplying for counsel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, counsel. So reapplying for PD.
Yes.
So, so you have a pretrial date set in this matter for August 29th, 2022 at 10:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. I'd like to confirm your address. Are you still at 3861 Wilson Avenue?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that Lansing, Michigan 48906.
Yes.
And your cell phone contact is 517-894-5699.
Yes.
All right. You've been on bench warrant status. Are you on probation or parole?
No.
And are you currently employed?
Not at the moment.
Okay. I'll set a not guilty plea for purposes of this probation violation arraignment. Counsel, would you like to be heard on bond?
Your Honor, I don't think this is a probation violation. I'm pretty sure this is just a regular
Since it's a bit,
pretrial.
you're correct. It's just a bench warrant, correct?
Okay, thank you. As to bond, Your Honor, Mr. Pierre has been in Lansing since he's been 10 years old. He does have kids here. He has an address away from the alleged victim in this case. However, he was working at the time. However, he was recently laid off. He's not on probation or parole. I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Thank you, counsel. I have certain notations from Judge Buchanan concerning the fail to appear. The pretrial, I'll reiterate the pretrial conditions, just so you know those are ongoing. No assaultive behavior, no alcohol or drugs, no out-of-state travel, no contact with the victim, no possession of firearms, no marijuana. Judge Buchanan has previously set a bond at $11,000 cash or surety. So since you failed to appear in front of her, I'll reiterate that bond is set by Judge Buchanan at $11,000 cash or surety. Anything else for the record, Ms. Robinson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, that's all for the record in docket 22-01035.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Didn't sign it. And Deshaun Fifield is the last one I have today. So docket 22-01621. Sir, are you Deshaun W. Fifield?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Counsel, your appearance for the record.
Aaron Robinson, Assistant Public Defender for Mr. Fifield for purposes of arraignment only today. He states that he has retained Mr. Mataloni for this case.
Okay, so retained Michael Mataloni for the bond case, or for the case at this stage. Sir, I'm going to read you. This is a violation of a bond condition. I'm going to read you the nature of the allegations against you, and then indicate some rights you have concerning these bond conditions. It is from a motion affidavit and bench warrant signed by Danielle Strauss on August 3rd, 2022. It was signed by Judge Simmons on August 3rd, 2022. The indication is that you were held in contempt for the following reasons. You violated terms of specialty court bond conditions by testing positive for alcohol at AberHealth on August 2nd, 2022. The warrant indicates a 0.81 at 8:20, and on August 3rd, 2022, a 0.32 at 8:29 a.m. I'm sorry, a 0.032 at 8:29 a.m. Do you understand the nature of the bench warrant against you, sir?
Yes.
Okay, you have the right to contest these charges at hearing. You have the right to be represented by counsel to contest these charges of cross-examination at hearing. My understanding is you plan to retain or have retained attorney Michael Mataloni. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I have a show cause bond violation set for tomorrow morning at 8:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. So August 18th at 8:30 in front of Judge Buchanan. I'll check your address with you. I have 1325 East Saginaw, Lansing 48906. Is that still an accurate address?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I have a phone number of 517-662-7167. Is that still a good number?
Correct.
All right. You've been on bench warrant status. Are you on probation or parole at this time?
Consider, yes, I would say yes.
All right. In regards, and who is that with?
Danielle.
Judge Buchanan?
No, my
All right.
probation officer is Daniel.
All right.
Danielle.
Danielle Strauss?
Yes.
Are you employed, sir?
Yes, I am, sir.
Where's that at?
I was supposed to go to work at 2 o'clock today at Cracker Barrel in Grand Ledge.
Okay. I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea for purposes of this arraignment. Ms. Robinson, would you like to be heard on bond for the bench warrant bond condition violation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Fifield did turn himself in today. He is supposed to start sobriety court tomorrow. He has been in Lansing his entire life. He does have family here in the area. As he stated, he is working at the Cracker Barrel in Grand Ledge. He also has animals that he takes care of that he would need to be out of custody for. So I would request a personal recognizance bond.
Since the hearing is tomorrow morning and I have the what was signed in relation to, so first, if you, all the previous bond conditions are the same, if you're able to make bond at this time, what I'm gonna do, so all those are the same. What I'm gonna do is tomorrow morning, but I'm gonna remand the defendant at this time. He has a hearing at 8:30 in the morning in front of Judge Buchanan, then they can revisit the bond conditions. But I'm gonna make sure that he's at that hearing. Since we have a fail to appear for sobriety court, I have concerns about the appearance in this. So I'm gonna remand the defendant, and then bond can be revisited tomorrow morning on August 18th at 8:30.
So I'm not gonna be able to go to work today. I've been in my job.
That's
for
true.
3 weeks.
Sir,
I might
that's
lose
true.
my job.
That's true. For your fail to appear, I'm gonna make sure you appear at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow.
When did
All right.
when did I do that, Your Honor? I turned myself in when I got that warrant. I never.
I
not
understand.
appeared.
I
I
understand.
never not appeared.
It's not,
You
it's,
did
Your
not-
Honor, I don't think it's a bench warrant. I think it's a probation violation warrant.
It's a
So I
probation
believe that he's
violation.
correct.
I don't have anything to indicate that that he's on sentence to sobriety court because of his fail to appear.
He's not on sentence, Your Honor. He gets sentenced and starts tomorrow. So it's counted as like a bond condition violation at this time, but it's functioning as a probation violation. It's not a bench warrant. So I think
Right.
it might be listed as like a warrant in the system, but it's not like for him failing to appear, if that makes sense.
Well, we're gonna assure appearance tomorrow morning at 8:30. That's all for the record in this file 22-01621. Judge Buchanan can revisit the warrant status and your sobriety court acceptance at sentencing tomorrow morning. That's all for the record in 22-01621.
This way, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I think we're all set.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, counsel. Oh, we have, who's Muse 4010? record and docket 22-00666. This is the time set for a continuation of a formal hearing. If I remember correctly, we started proofs. And then there was the opportunity for rental assistance that we've been waiting for on the file in some capacity. So the parties please introduce themselves for the record.
Elena Watkins, landlord.
And sir, you are, so, okay, Mawa Abdallah Isa Mohammed. All right. We've adjourned this several times in essence to see if the rental assistance is coming through. Ms. Watkins, what's the nature of our progress here?
Yeah, I got a second check. And now Mr. Mohammed's rent paid until September 21st. He owed $83.34.
Okay, so through September 31st,
21st.
September 21st. Okay. So, and that's your understanding, Mr. Mohammed? All right. So how did you want to proceed today? Because it sounds like you've gotten caught up to date with the rental assistance to a time. Are you, so at this time, the case, my indication is after this is the case will be dismissed and you can refile if necessary.
Like this, it can be that.
Yeah, you know, because it sounds like all the payments been made that the rental assistance will pay except for the $81. All right. So I don't think, Mr. Mohammed, do you believe you can pay the $81 before September 21st?
What $80?
But
Yeah.
for rent. It covered, you're covered up until the amount that it doesn't cover.
This is September?
Yes.
Up to September?
Up till September.
21st.
Yes,
So now this is August.
right. It's almost a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is means early. That is.
right. I'm good with dismissing the file today. All right.
Yeah,
But she, because I believe the rent's been caught up to a point, but you know, as rent comes up, you're gonna have to pay the rent.
Yeah,
All right.
but now it's August and we paid for her up to September 21st.
Through September 21st. That's correct. All right.
We need money. No
Okay.
money.
So I think, I think rent is caught up at this point through September 21st.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, Kate, so the case is dismissed. Rent is caught up. Up on file through rental assistance. But you understand that if you fall behind before, we're gonna be back in front of another. It may not be me, but it'll be in front of another judge, you know, with asking the same questions. So I'm not concerned about the next month. I'm concerned about the next 6 months, right? You know, because if there's not rent paid in the next 6 months, we just don't. We're gonna have the same problem. All right.
I'm working.
Okay, I understand, sir. I'm trying to avoid that. That's what I'm sure you are, and I'm sure Miss Watkins, as handsome as I am, you don't want to keep seeing me, right? Okay. All right. So let's see if we can do that. All right. All right. I'm going to dismiss the case for today. The case is dismissed without prejudice. You're caught up right now, and we're glad that's happened. We just want to avoid this. All right. That's all for the record in 22-00666. Thank you for your appearance, Ms. Watkins. Thank you for your appearance, Mr. Muhammad. All right. So I'm on the record. Who's here for LG Lansing LLC? Is
I'm
that
here
you,
for
Miss Esquita?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And you have the property manager here?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'll go on the record and I'll tell you what I've learned about this case in the last 20 minutes, and then we can indicate what we're doing today. So I'm on the record in docket 2201353. That is LG Lansing versus Nicholas Stone. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Good afternoon, Liza Esqueda, P number 80588 on behalf of the plaintiff.
All right. This was initially set for formal hearing on today's date because on July 20th, at that pretrial, the defendant failed to appear, and this was set for formal hearing because service was by attachment. So we set it for formal hearing today. I'll indicate for the record what I've received in regards to this case, and then I'll put it in the file. Our civil department received a voicemail from a Tammy Waite, who's a caregiver for Nicholas Stone. They left a message at 1:57. I was in arraignments, so we got the message when we got done with arraignments, stating the defendant is a disabled vet and cannot appear today as he is at the VA for doctor's appointment. And then the person requested a callback. The voicemail was forwarded to my assistant. There was some discussion there. I indicated that I'm not willing to adjourn this matter until I talk to all the parties involved. That this was noticed on July 20th, but the defendant failed to appear at that date. And that's why it's been set on for formal hearing, because notice was by attachment. So that's where we planned. The defendant is not here today. It appears he did have notice, knew he was supposed to be here, and had a VA appointment that made this his appearance became problematic. There was some talking about appealing the process in regards to the procedure. We couldn't give him any really advice on that until we decide what to do with the file today. So, Ms. Esquita, I'm looking to you for some guidance on how you want to proceed today.
Okay, and I might need to bring the property manager on here for their testimony. My understanding is that we were to dismiss this, that he's vacated the property.
And do I have the property manager for LC? There you are.
Yes.
So can you answer that question? And what's your name for the record, ma'am?
My name is Casey.
Your last name?
Place.
Okay.
As far as we know, he vacated the apartment and we wanted to change the locks.
Do you have a date that he vacated, ma'am?
No, I do not.
I show that on August 10th, somebody at the property management office received an email from Mr. Stone that he was vacating, or that he was vacating.
That'd be Bessie.
All right, so is the property vacated? I need to know, because I don't know if the understanding was to dismiss the case on the property being vacated, then I will take the dismissal. But there has to be a request for it.
Yes, he is vacated.
All right. So if the property is vacated, your understanding, Ms. Esquita, do you want me to dismiss the case at your request?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So I don't think we're gonna have a problem with Mr. Stone not appearing. I will dismiss at plaintiff's request.
dismiss it.
All right, I'll write for the ROA that it was just, this was dismissed at the request of plaintiff, the tenant vacated on August 10th. And then I'll put the note in the file. So that we can follow up, just an indication to Mr. Stone that he was not bench warranted or defaulted in any way here. Anything else for the record, Mrs. Skeeta, on 22-01353?
No, that's all, Your Honor. I will send over the dismissal to your court this afternoon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your appearance, ma'am. All right, we're on the record in docket 22-01614. That's Lawrence Jaramillo versus American Car Care Auto, Nathaniel Thomas and Tracy Thomas. And it's my understanding, it's Mr. Mock?
Correct.
Yeah. It's my understanding, Mr. Mock, that the parties have come to a resolution in the matter?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So I did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Nathaniel Thomas. Just to give you some background, this is a commercial landlord-tenant dispute. The defendants did return possession of the unit to the landlord on or around July 15th. So the only issue then today was to address the issue of a money judgment.
Okay.
All right, we were prepared to proceed to a trial this afternoon. However, I've had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Thomas, and I have shown him a draft money judgment that I prepared in anticipation of the trial, and he has agreed to entry of the same. If I may approach Your Honor, I also have a answer and advice of rights that Mr. Thomas has signed.
Sure, I'll take a look at both of them.
The money judgment indicates the balance due, and it also indicates a dismissal against Tracy Thomas because personal service cannot be obtained.
All right, and I'm assuming that Mr. Thomas can sign or can vouch for the American Car Care, the LLC, which is most likely in his name.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I understand. So there's no misunderstanding as to the order, the judgment order that I'll sign is requesting that there will be a judgment ordered in the total amount of $10,320 as of August 17th. Judgment will accrue with interest as the contractual rate of 7%. The order also dismisses Tracy Thomas, and that will resolve this case as signed. Is that your understanding, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, I will sign this. And then it looks like there were two. All right, so I add that. Should we make copies of this for the file, for our file?
They would like copies.
Do you want copies and we'll keep the originals?
A gist of the advice of rights.
Well, this one
judgment
will
as
probably
well.
be filed with the court.
Yeah.
Yeah, will we do that or will they do that?
Did you just sign that?
Yeah, I did.
And that'll stay in the court file.
Yeah. So this is the signed copy.
Yeah.
Let's provide them with copies and this will stay in the court file, okay?
Yeah, very good.
Anything else for the record in 22-01614? Mr. Mock?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything, Mr. Thomas? It's Nathaniel Thomas.
Yes, sir. I just
Yes.
have a question.
I don't have the 10,000. I have to make payments. What am I required to pay? Because I'm on a fixed income.
I would assume at this point in time, you would enter in some type of installment plan, if Mr. Mock is amenable. It's the due date on this is August 17th. Is that today?
That's the balance as of today's date,
Right.
including interest as of today's date.
And so, I mean, so you have the judgment.
Correct.
I mean, so you'll have to talk to Mr. Mock in regards to making payment on that. There's a judgment in the file, so it can lead to garnishment of wages or things of that in that nature. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. All right, that's all for the record in 22-01614. I'll provide the file to Mr. Nevis, and then he can provide you with copies, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your appearance today, sir. Mrs. Skita, you're here on the LG Lansing 245 case?
Yes, I am.
All right, we'll give till 3. I don't see Mr. Miller in the courtroom or the Zoom courtroom. So stand by. Ms. Snyder, you're here for Mr. Vosbury,
Yes,
and that's on OPV Partners.
yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, we'll do the same for 3 o'clock for Kamau Walker.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so stand by. So we're on the record in docket 22013556. That's LG Lansing LLC versus Lewis Miller. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Good afternoon again, Your Honor. Liza Esqueda, P number 80588 on behalf of the plaintiff. And I have a plaintiff representative here in the courtroom as well.
All right. And this is the time set for a formal hearing. It's my understanding at the last pretrial, the defendant met with yourself or a representative in a breakout room, and then we set it for formal on today's date. Mr. Miller is not here today, so he has failed to appear. How would you like to proceed, Ms. Esqueda?
Your Honor, at the last hearing, he stated he was going to make some payments prior to this hearing. He had done that before and he's failed to make the payments. So I would move forward with a judgment, a default judgment.
All right. And you'll follow that up with an order, Ms. Esqueda?
Yes, I will do that this afternoon.
All right. I've indicated that the plaintiff requested default judgment. The defendants failed to appear. I indicated some notes that happened that coincided with the last meeting in the breakout room. Is there anything else for the record?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Esqueda?
Nothing
All right.
else.
That's all for the record in 22013556.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you ready on, are you here on Mr. Gaston? Or are you here on Mr. Walker?
I'm sorry, I missed the first question.
Oh, I have Anmark Rivershell versus Mike Gaston and OPV Partners versus Mr. Walker.
I am here on OPV Partners versus Mr. Walker.
Okay. This is the time set for a formal hearing in docket 2201301378. That is OPV Partners versus, let me get the right file. OPV Partners versus Kamau Walker. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. Jackie Snyder Powdar on behalf of OPV Partners Autumnridge Apartments. And I have a party representative in the courtroom. My P number is 82554.
All right, this is the time set for a formal hearing that came from a defendant failed to appear at the past formal hearing. We had service by attachment. That is now 3:04. This was set for 2:45. It appears that the defendant has once again failed to appear. Ms. Snyder, how would you like to proceed?
Your Honor, at this time, we are moving for a default judgment be entered against Mr. Walker and all occupants.
Right, the default judgment will be ordered as requested. Anything else for the file in docket 22011625? Ms. Snyder?
No, Your Honor.
You'll be following that up with an order in that regard?
Yes, Your Honor, I will send an order over to the court this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Ms. Snyder. That's all for the record in 22011625.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here on Levine. Rivershell, property manager, will you identify yourself?
Annette Morse, Rivershell Property.
All right, Ms. Morse, do you know which attorney will be representing Rivershell in regard to this matter?
I believe it was going to be Janet Swistek.
Okay. And that was for Mr. Levine?
Yes, Swistek and Levine.
All right. Yeah, it appears that the defendant failed to appear at the last formal hearing. So I think we'll just wait for Ms. Swistek to appear, okay?
Okay.
She might be in another courtroom doing another formal hearing, so we'll just stand by, okay?
Okay, I have 2 cases for today, so I'm here.
All right. Those cases, oh, you got 2 cases with us.
Yes, I believe you have also, let me look again on my email, I'm sorry. Brandon Jackson.
No, we do not have Mr. Jackson.
Okay, I'll have to find out what happened with that one.
All right. But we'll stand by with, and we checked our records, and the Anmark Rivershell case is still pending. So we'll await the appearance of, go ahead.
Mr. Jackson's case in front of Judge Simmons.
Mr. Jackson's case is in front of Judge Simmons.
What courtroom is that?
Courtroom 4.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So the property manager from Rivershell,
Yes,
Annette?
yes.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Mr. Levine. We're having some Zoom problems, so we might just for recording purposes, which is really in favor of Mr. Levine or whoever's covering the case right now, because we're about 40 minutes into it and we're about to call the case. We're just concerned. We want to make sure that all the recording's working. All right.
It's up.
Okay.
All right. So is it up?
It's
All
up.
right.
All fast.
So I'm gonna call the case of docket 22-01378. That's Ann Mark Rivershell versus Mike Gaston. I have the property manager for Rivershell, Ann Mark Rivershell. I don't have a legal representative for a Landmark Rivershell, and I don't have any representative from the defendant in the case, Mr. Gaston. This was set for formal hearing from July 27th, in which Mr. Gaston failed to appear. So we set it for formal hearing today because it was serviced by attachment. And now we don't have the legal representative for the plaintiff. Ms. Rivershell, is there anything you can indicate for us on the presence of the legal representative?
I did receive an email from a representative that was supposed to be on, and I guess she's out sick with COVID and said that Janet Swistek was supposed to be stepping in.
Okay. Well, the only thing I can think to do and at this time is to set it for a new formal hearing that would be pretty far out, but then wait to hear from you in regards to any, there's two things I can do today. One thing is dismiss the case for failure to appear both parties. One party has just not appeared at all. And then the other party, there seems to be a reason, which seems to be COVID related. So the second thing I can do is just set this for my earliest date for formal hearing, and then have the party address an indication as to why they didn't appear, and maybe we can put it on, but I only have an October 12th date at this juncture for the hearing. I'm inclined to do that rather than dismiss the case.
Yeah, I don't want to dismiss. We're at almost, we're over $15,000 debt for this guy.
Right. All right, I'm gonna indicate that the plaintiff failed to appear. What's that?
I'm telling you, I just told her I needed to schedule it.
So defendant failed to appear. It may be COVID related at this point.
For the defendant?
I'm sorry. No, for your that's for you, right? There was an indication that there was a somebody substituting in because of a COVID problem.
Yeah, is there a way that I can contact the attorney's office real quick and see?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you can, but it'd have to be quick because we've been here for about 45 minutes.
Okay, if you can give me a couple minutes, I'll call them and I'll be right back on the line.
All right,
Thank
that'll
you.
work. Yeah, if it gets rid of a case, it gets rid of a case.
I'm not promising you this recording equipment.
Yeah, that's all right. If we're doing things by Zoom, we have to expect some technological problems.
Why don't you mute us for a few minutes?
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I just got off the phone with the attorneys and they're saying that they were informed they didn't need to be in court today. It was just myself and the defendant.
Who told them that?
That's a good question. I'm wondering the same thing.
Yeah, because I've never heard of such a thing at a formal hearing where the
That's
lawyers
what-
don't have to come and request for a default judgment.
I
That
agree
would put
with
the
you
onus
there.
on the property manager. Do you know if they're going to appear today? Because the only other option I have is to set it for further formal hearing or to dismiss the file. And I don't think they want it to be dismissed.
I don't want it to be dismissed. Like I
All
said, the
right.
guy owes us $15,000 now. And if you dismiss it,
Then
means I
I'm-
have to start all over.
I know. I'm gonna reset it for formal hearing.
Okay,
For formal hearing. Plaintiffs failed to appear for some reason, I'm not sure. Defendant is FTA again. And so formal hearing on October 12th
okay,
at 2:30. And a legal representative will be needed from the law firm in order to ask for a default judgment.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a nice day.
You too, bye.